Okay, I've had a couple people ask me on what it means to float your fabric, or how do I go about doing that. There are several ways to do that. You can either use your Scotch tape or pins. I prefer to use pins because if you've ever used a sticky stabilizer or the spray adhesive, you'll find that your needle gums up, and even if you're not hitting the tape, sometimes it'll leave a residue on your fabric, especially like with silks or something that are your chiffons or anything delicate. It still will leave a gummy place to it, and I don't want to damage an expensive piece of material by using tape. So occasionally I'll use it, but 9 times out of 10 I just use my pins. So what I have here is this is my hoop with my drawer liner that I have cut to help utilize my hoop better. It keeps it from wearing out the stripping the screw mechanism here. It also keeps from burning. If you do hoop fabric, it'll keep from kind of having that rug burn type to some fabrics like your velvets, your fine silks and stuff like that. You don't want that kind of friction on a delicate piece of material. But just about on everything that I do now, I try to float my material because it makes it so much easier. I mean, it's just as stable as anything else. The way I go about this is I usually just lay my material down that would fit inside the hoop, because you're not going to need it. And this really, unless you're doing something like a pillowcase or something big, but like with appliqué or whatever, this is all I ever do. And I just fit it in here. Now, naturally, I iron a lot of things before I do it. I also have a garment steamer, so I'm doing this just for the video, but normally I would have all my wrinkles out of here. But with this, then I would do your longest points first, and I basically try to bump or butt it up to the bottom end here. And let me see if I can pin this, and then I'll pick it back up and show you. Pin here. And then I kind of pull a little bit, not real taut, but I just try to pull and smooth this fabric down. And granted, once it's ironed, it stays a little better. And I go to the longest point and then pin it as close to the hoop as you can. Come through the back and push up on that pin so it'll come through there good. Okay, so then if you'll look, I have the top part pinned and the bottom part pinned. Then I'll burp out all the air out from under here, pin this side, and then pin this side. And that's it. That's called floating. Now, that's floating on your top. When you're over here at your machine, let me take this around here to the machine. You can actually place it on your machine. Let's see here. Got to do it for. Let me put the phone down a minute. Alright, and when I put it on my machine, this is awkward with being one-handed, and I had a biopsy today, so it's not a easy done because I'm a little bit sore. But I hoop it, if I can find it. Let me lay this down. I normally don't have issues like this. I'm just moving differently. There it goes. All right, now, what I was saying is, this is actually, would be called the floating on top. And sometimes if I'm doing something that is going to have a satin stitch, and it's a possibility that the fabric might shrink when it's washed. This is flannel, and it's cotton flannel, so I'm pretty sure it's going to shrink. Well, your satin stitch, which I use poly thread, it does not shrink. So what you're wanting to do is do something that's going to stabilize that fabric on top. So what I do is I'll use my cutaway stabilizer, and I just take and lift it up slightly, and that just slide another piece underneath the, see, I just, right here, and I lift up the, just slightly onto the hoop, and I float another piece of stabilizer under there. Simple as can be, and you would be amazed at the difference it'll do. Now, if I did this, something on this flannel with a satin stitch and washed it, you would have little raised humps once you washed it. But when you put this other stabilizer underneath the bottom here, it's going to hold that flannel taut. Even though it might try to shrink up a little bit, it won't. It won't move. It does an amazing job of keeping it right the way you did it. So it lasts longer, and it holds its shape without any puckers. So if you have any questions, give me a private message or a quick chat or whatever on Facebook. But I'm Teresa Rose Dye on Facebook, and I'm a member of a whole bunch of groups, so you'll find me wherever. Thanks a bunch. Hope this helps.